Hi! In this audio, I will read a chapter of the book The Miracles of Your Mind by Joseph Murphy. This is a public domain book, available on the internet and here on YouTube. Chapter 2: The Subconscious Mind and Health. The subject of mental therapeutics is creating a widespread interest all over the world at the present time. Man is gradually awakening to the healing powers resident in his subconscious mind. It is a well-known fact that all of the various schools of healing effect cures of the most wonderful character. The answer to all of this is that there is one universal healing principle, namely the subconscious mind, and one process of healing, which is faith. This is why Paracelsus stated his great truth. Whether the object of your faith be real or false, you will nevertheless obtain the same effects. It is an established fact that cures have taken place in various shrines throughout the world, such as in Japan, India, Europe, and the American continent. You will find many widely differing theories, each presenting indubitable evidences of healing. Obviously, to the thinker, there must be some underlying principle common to them all. Regardless of the geographical location or the means used, there is only one healing principle. And the process of every healing is faith. The first thing to remember is the dual nature of your mind. The subconscious mind is constantly amenable to the power of suggestion. Furthermore, the subconscious mind has complete control of the functions, conditions, and sensations of your body. I venture to believe that all of the readers of this book are familiar with the fact that the symptoms of almost any disease can be induced in hypnotic subjects by suggestion. For example, a subject in the hypnotic state can develop a high temperature, flushed face, or chills according to the nature of the suggestion given. By experiment, you can suggest to the person that they are paralyzed and cannot walk. It will be so. Pain can also be induced in any part of the body. By illustration, you can hold a cup of cold water under the nose of the hypnotic subject and tell him, "This is full of pepper, smell it." He will proceed to sneeze. What do you think caused him to sneeze? The water or the suggestion? If a man says he is allergic to Timothy grass, you can place a synthetic flower or any empty glass in front of the nose of such person in a hypnotic state and tell him it is Timothy grass. He will portray the usual allergic symptoms. This indicates that the cause of the disease is in the mind. The healing of the disease can also take place mentally. We realize that remarkable healings take place through osteopathy, chiropractic, medicine, and naturopathy, as well as through all of the various churches. But we maintain that all of these healings are brought about through the subconscious mind, the only healer there is. Notice how it heals a cut on your face caused by shaving. It knows exactly how to do it. The doctor dresses the wound, he says. Nature heals it. Nature refers to natural law, the law of the subconscious mind, or self-preservation, which is the function of the subconscious mind. The instinct of self-preservation is the first law of nature. Your strongest instinct is the most potent of all autosuggestions. You have just learned that you can induce disease in your own body, or that of another, through suggestion, in defiance of your natural instincts. It is perfectly natural and obvious that suggestions in harmony with instinctive autosuggestion would have greater power. It is easier to maintain and restore health than it is to bring about sickness in the body. The fate that brings about healing is a certain mental attitude, a way of thinking, an inner certitude, an acceptancy of the best. In the healing of the body, it is of course desirable to secure the current fate of both the conscious and subconscious mind. However, it is not essential if the person will enter into a state of passivity and receptivity by relaxing the mind and the body and getting into a sleepy state. I have known people who have completely denied matter and their bodies, yet they received marvelous healings. I have known others who said the world was real, that matter was real, and that their bodies were real. They likewise have had wonderful healings. The point is that any method, technique, or process you may use will bring about a change in the mind, or a new mental atmosphere is legitimate. Results will follow. Healing is due to a changed mental attitude, or to a transformation of the mind. Paracelsus said, "Whether the object of your faith be true or false, you will nevertheless obtain the same effects." Thus, if you believe in the bones of saints to heal, or if you believe in the healing power of certain waters, you will get results because of the powerful suggestion given to your subconscious mind. It is the latter that does the healing. The witch doctor, with his incantations, heals by faith also. Any method which causes you to move from fear and worry to faith and expectancy will heal. True scientific mental healing is brought about by the combined function of the conscious and subconscious mind, scientifically directed. The man who denies the ulcer on his hand, though he has one, who even denies his body, and who says all that is visible and tangible has no real existence, may get a healing. All of this would be absurd to you. The question arises, how does the man get a healing when he protests against such statements, claiming they insult his intelligence? The reason is very obvious when you know how the subconscious mind works. The man is asked to relax his mind and body, to get into a quiet, passive, receptive state. Then the objective senses are partially suspended and in abeyance. He is in a sleepy state, and the subconscious mind is amenable to suggestion. The practitioner then suggests wonderful words of perfect health which enter his subconscious mind. The client finds immense relief and perhaps a complete healing. The practitioner is not handicapped by antagonistic autosuggestions of the patient, arising from objective doubt of the power of the healing or the correctness of the theory. In the sleepy, drowsy state of the conscious mind, resistance is reduced to a minimum, hence results follow. There are a great number who claim that because their theory produces results, it is therefore the correct one. As explained in this chapter, cannot be true. You know, there are all types of healing. Mesmer and others healed by claiming they were sending forth a certain magnetic fluid. Other men came along and said all of this was nonsense, that the healing was due to suggestion. All of these groups, such as psychiatrists, psychologists, osteopaths, chiropractors, physicians, and all churches are using the one universal healing power, resident in the subconscious mind. Each may proclaim the healings are due to their theory. The process of all healing is a definite, positive mental attitude, an inner certitude, or a way of thinking called faith. Healing is due to a confident expectancy, which acts as a powerful suggestion to the subconscious mind, releasing its healing potency. One man does not heal by a different power than another. It is true he may have his own theory and method. There is only one process of healing, and that is faith. There is only one healing power, namely your subconscious mind. Select a theory and method which you prefer. You can rest assured, if you have the faith, you shall get results. In the LA Examiner, some time ago, John McDowell described tests being conducted in prayer therapy at Redlands University under the title Psychosomatic Tests, Bear Prayer's Power. He writes as follows. Dr. William R. Parker, 37-year-old director of the clinic, today revealed for the first time that early results of prayer therapy in a group of 20 arthritic, tubercular, ulcer and speech impediment patients have been favorable. These patients who agree to practice prayer therapy, in addition to the university's clinic regular group, physical therapy, have been making greater progress than the clinic's regular patients. Dr. Parker said, for example, a stomach ulcer patient relying solely on prayer and group therapy has reported that for the last 3 weeks all symptoms of his ailment have disappeared. A Redlands University professor afflicted most of his life with a severe case of stuttering, which years of various treatments failed to correct. Today has no trace of speech impediment after 6 months of prayer therapy. Another teacher, forced into retirement a year ago because of tuberculosis is now back at his teaching job, apparently cured. This man's doctor, a tuberculosis specialist, recently gave him a sputum test. Dr. Parker said, "The test turned up negative, and the doctor was certain a mistake has been made. He immediately made another test, and that was negative too. Dr. Parker, a doctor of psychology, not medicine, stresses that prayer therapy is no quackish miracle cure at all, but a scientific approach to prayer and its effect on the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, in the eyes of the still pioneering psychosomatic medicine world, is the fountainhead of many of mankind's afflictions, including arthritis, asthma, hay fever, multiple sclerosis, tuberculosis, ulcers, and high blood pressure. The psychosomatic theory, hotly disputed by the medical profession, is that such ailments start as functional disorders in the subconscious and develop into organic disease, which doctors treat by attacking the symptoms rather than the cause. Prayer therapy, according to Dr. Parker, is a psychosomatic attempt to attack the causes of these disorders in the subconscious. 4 basic personality difficulties are at the root of everything that goes wrong in the subconscious mind. Dr. Parker said they are fear, hate, guilt and inferiority. In the Redlands prayer therapy experiment, these basic difficulties are first ferreted out through a series of standard psychological tests given to patients participating in the project. Subsequently, the patients meet in a 90-minute group session once a week to discuss their problems. At these meetings, each patient is given a sealed envelope containing information on one detrimental aspect of his or her personality uncovered in the tests. Once at home, the patients open the envelopes, learn a new, undesirable phase of their personality, and reserve that particular difficulty in prayer daily until the next group meeting. There is only one must. Each patient is required to pray regularly, each night before he or she retires. Once at home, the patients open the envelopes, learn a new, undesirable phase of their personality, and resolve that particular difficulty in prayer daily until the next group meeting. There is only one must. Each patient is required to pray regularly each night before he or she retires. We insist on a prayer at that time because the last thing that a person is thinking before going to sleep is most likely to penetrate to the subconscious, Dr. Parker said. Dr. Parker, who first tried out his prayer theories on himself during an onset of ulcers 3 years ago, said most of the patients have to be taught how to pray. The clinic's prayer therapy patients are taught a positive approach to prayer, stressing love and an uplifting concept of God and the universe. Our prayers are not a begging for health, but are affirmations of the healing of the unhealthy element the patient wants to attack, stated in such a positive, repetitious manner that eventually it sinks into the subconscious and becomes a part of that person, Dr. Parker said. In that manner, through prayer, destructive aspects within the subconscious can be attacked and eventually overcome, thus eliminating the basic causes of their physical ills. In the Wilshire Ebel Theatre, where I speak to an overflow audience each Sunday, we have a period called the Healing Silence. The first thing I do is ask the audience to relax, let go, and to stop the wheels of their mind. The purpose is to quiet down the doubting Thomas, conscious mind, and insert a new idea such as health, peace, joy and abundance into the receptive minds of the listeners. Those who are impregnated will give birth to a healing or an answer to their prayer. This is the kinetic action of the subconscious mind. Many report excellent results every Sunday, as attested to by grateful letters. I would like to stress a few important factors here relative to the workings of the subconscious mind. A man came to me one time and asked me why it was when he kept on saying to himself, "I have no headache," that the pain did not go away. The subconscious mind will not easily accept this contradiction. It accepts only what you believe and feel as true or accept as possible. If you mentally accept the possibility of the execution of your idea, the subconscious will cooperate. In order to impress the subconscious mind, you must gain its cooperation. If you can convince the subconscious mind you have no headache, the headache will go away. I suggested to him this method: declare, "It is passing away," over and over again, quietly and peacefully. In this way, he would be better able to sell the idea or conclusion to the wise deep self, called the subconscious mind. He got results. He added something to it. It will never return. For years he has never had any migraine attacks from which he suffered frequently. He had a belief or an expectancy that every Tuesday and Saturday morning he would get migraine attacks. This feeling acted as an autosuggestion to his subconscious mind. The latter obliged him by seeing to it that he would have a headache at the time specified. It simply said, "It is Tuesday morning, the boss wants a headache." The negative suggestion was removed by the above counter-suggestion. Here is another instance. A very brilliant woman came to me some years ago stating that she had psoriasis on her body, which would go away by applying an ointment, but that as soon as the salve was discontinued, it would return. She was not resenting anyone. She was very religious and seemingly well-balanced emotionally. In talking to her, I discovered that she lived in constant fear of its return. As a matter of fact, this was a very powerful suggestion to her subconscious mind. Since it is controlled by suggestion and belief, it responded accordingly. She would affirm 2 or 3 times a day, "I am whole, pure and perfect. My skin is perfect. I am healed." Nothing happened. You can readily see what happened in her case. Every time she said, "My skin is perfect," It started a quarrel in her mind. Something within her said, "No, your skin is not perfect." The following technique worked for her in a wonderful way. She started to say for 5 or 10 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day, "It is changing now for the better." This created no quarrel in her conscious or subconscious mind. Results followed. It gradually disappeared and it has never returned. I am sure she ceased suggesting its return. What I fear most has come upon me. Trust the subconscious mind to heal you. It made your body and it knows all of its processes and functions. It knows much more than your conscious mind about healing and restoring you to perfect balance. The subconscious mind, sometimes called the deep self, knows more about your body than all of the wisest men in the world. Never try to coerce or force the mind. We do not infer that some people who say, "I am whole, pure and perfect," do not get results. Of course they do, because they succeed in convincing themselves of it. Blind belief and faith will bring results due to the subjective fate of the individual. A psychologist friend of mine told me that one of his lungs was infected. X-rays and analysis showed the presence of tuberculosis. At night, before going to sleep, he would quietly affirm, "Every cell, nerve, tissue and muscle of my lungs are now being made whole, pure and perfect. My whole body is now being restored to health and harmony." These are not his exact words, but they represent the essence of what he said. A complete healing followed in about a month's time. Subsequent X-rays showed a perfect healing. I wanted to know his method, so I asked him why he repeated the words prior to sleep. Here is his reply. The kinetic action of the subconscious mind continues throughout your sleep time period. Hence, give the subconscious mind something good to work on as you drop off into slumber. This was a very wise answer. In suggesting harmony and health, he never mentioned his trouble by name. I strongly suggest that you cease talking about your ailments or giving them a name. The only sap from which they draw life is your attention and fear of them. Like the above-mentioned psychologist, become a good mental surgeon. Then your troubles will be cut off like dead branches or pruned from a tree. If you are constantly naming your aches and symptoms, by the law of your mind, these imaginings tend to take shape. As a thing I greatly feared. A technique of impressing the subconscious mind is as follows. This consists essentially in inducing the subconscious mind to take over your request as handed it by the conscious mind. This passing over is best accomplished in the reverie-like state. Know that in your deepened mind is infinite intelligence and infinite power. Just calmly think over what you want. See it coming into fuller fruition from this moment forward. Be like the little girl who had a very bad cough and a sore throat. She declared firmly and repeatedly, "It is passing away now. It is passing away now." It passed away in about an hour. Use this technique with complete simplicity and naivety. In using the subconscious mind, You infer no opponent. You use no willpower. You use imagination, not willpower. You imagine the end and the freedom state. You will find your intellect trying to get in the way, but persist in maintaining a simple, childlike miracle-making faith. Picture yourself without the ailment or problem. Imagine the emotional accompaniments of the freedom state you crave. Cut out all red tape from the process. The simple way is always the best. Remember that your body possesses an organic mechanism reflecting the interplay of the conscious and subconscious mind, viz. The voluntary cerebrospinal nervous system and the involuntary nervous system. These two systems may work separately or synchronously. The vagus nerve connects the two systems in the body. When you study the cellular system and the structure of the organs, such as eyes, ears, heart, liver, bladder, etc., you learn they consist of groups of cells which possess a group intelligence, whereby they function together and are able to take orders and carry them out in deductive fashion at the suggestion of the master mind, conscious mind. This is why the group intelligence of the lungs responded to the constructive, positive suggestions of the psychologists previously mentioned in this chapter. In this book, our purpose is to remove the mystery of the workings of the mind, in order to know better its modus operandi. In the relaxed state, the subjective mind comes to the surface and begins to work on the correct patterns suggested by the healer. The kinetic action of the mind then comes into play by way of the vagus nerve. Between sleeping and the waking state, the mind breaks through from its material thraldom and the limitations of time and space, and asserts its innate freedom. Dr. Evans, a student of Quimby, was able to suspend the subconscious mind, and by an interior illumination attended with no loss of consciousness of external surroundings, was able to diagnose disease. Clairvoyance is one of the powers of the subconscious mind, which enabled Quimby, Dr. Evans, and many others to clearly see the internal structure of man, the nature and extent of the disease, plus the cause behind it. This proved a great aid in the healing of patients. The explanation of the mental and emotional cause of the ailments was a solution in most cases. The usual procedure is as follows. 1. Take a look at a problem. 2. Then turn to the solution, or way out known only to the subconscious mind. 3. Rest in a sense of deep conviction that it is done. Do not weaken your treatment by saying, "I hope so," or "it will be better." The cellular setup of your body will follow faithfully and honestly whatever blueprint the conscious mind hands over to them via the subconscious, sometimes called subjective or involuntary mind. Your feeling about the work to be done is the boss. Know that health is yours, harmony is yours. Become intelligent by becoming a vehicle for the infinite healing power of the subconscious mind. The reason of failure are lack of confidence and too much effort. Suggest to the subconscious mind to the point of conviction. Then relax. Get yourself off of your hands. Say to conditions and circumstances, "This too shall pass." Through relaxation, you impress the subconscious mind, enabling the kinetic energy behind the idea to take over and bring it into concrete realization. A careful study of the single-celled organism shows us what goes on in our complex body. Though the monocellular organism has no organs, it still gives evidence of mind action and reaction performing the basic functions of movement, alimentation, assimilation, and elimination. Dr. Alexis Carroll's findings in heart experiments of chicks are significant, pointing to the basic finding that life functions despite the lack of complete organistic equipment. The body of man portrays the workings of his inner mind. Our real powers are resident in the subconscious mind. No one knows all of the workings of the subconscious mind, for it is infinite in its scope. We learn what we can about how it works, then we use it accordingly. People say there is an intelligence which will take care of the body if we let it alone. This is true, but the difficulty is that the conscious mind always interferes with its five sense evidence based on outer appearances, leading to the sway of false beliefs, fears, and mere opinion. When fear, false beliefs, and negative patterns are made to register in the subconscious mind through psychological, emotional, and conditioning, there is no other course open to the subconscious mind, except to act on the blueprint specification offered to it. The subjective self within your works continuously for the general good, reflecting an innate principle of harmony behind all things. Study the works of Edison, Carver, Einstein, and many others who, without too much outer education, knew how to tap the subconscious mind for its manifold treasures. Have a reason for the faith in you. You cannot get very far if you do not believe in what you do not see. I do not see love, but I feel it. I do not see beauty. I see it manifested. Subjective faith is often greater in a puny body of a carrot-loving poet than in the stronger frame of a prize fighter. Our greatest failing is a lack of confidence in the powers of the subconscious mind. Get acquainted with your inner powers. Of what use is it to know in principle that you are perfect if you cannot bring it out? Self-realization plus feeling is the only key to healing. To get results is no proof your method is scientific or sound. I knew a man who was told to wave a rabbit's foot around his head 7 times, and a big wad would fall off. He believed it, and the result followed. The rabbit's foot had nothing to do with it. It was due to a law of mind. Mental acceptance and belief were the causes, and the disappearance of the word was the effect. If you are tense and anxious, the subconscious mind will pay no attention to you in a tough situation. A house owner once remonstrated with a furnace repairman for charging $200 for fixing the boiler. The mechanic said, "I charge 5 cents for the missing bulb and $199.95 for knowing what was wrong." Similarly, Your subconscious mind is the master mechanic, the all-wise one, who knows ways and means of healing any organ of your body, as well as your affairs. Decree health and the subconscious mind will establish it. But relaxation is the key. Easy does it. Do not be concerned with details and means, but know the end result. Get a feel of the happy solution of your problem, whether it is health, financial, or employment. Remember how you feel after you had recovered from a severe state of illness. Bear in mind that a feeling is the touchstone of all subconscious demonstration. Your new idea must be felt subjectively in a finished state, not in the future, but as now coming about. One of our students who attended our lectures on the miracles of the mind had severe eye trouble, which the doctor said necessitated operation. He was instructed how to use the Nancy School technique. Take a little phrase or affirmation, easily graven on the memory, and repeat it over and over again like a lullaby. Each night, this man, as he went to sleep, entered into the drowsy, meditative state, the state skin to sleep. His attention was immobilized and focused on his eye doctor. He imagined the doctor was in front of him, and he plainly heard, or imagined he heard, the doctor saying to him, "A miracle has happened." He heard this over and over again every night for perhaps 5 minutes or so before going to sleep. At the end of 3 weeks, he went to the ophthalmologist who had previously examined his eyes, and he said to his client, "This is a miracle. What happened?" He impressed his subconscious mind using the doctor as an instrument or a means of convincing or conveying the idea. Through repetition, faith, and expectancy, he impregnated the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind made the eyes. Within it was the perfect pattern, and immediately it proceeded to heal the eyes. This is another example of the miracles of your mind. Take a look at my Miracles of Your Mind playlist for the next chapter. And make sure you subscribe to my channel. Like this video and hit the bell button to receive more updates. I see you in the next video.